This speech, my goals and directives for this speech are not simply made up on a whim, nor do they lack direction, because I want to be very pointed with this and involve nearly anyone and everyone in my inspiration, which came through personal experience for the speech. Not all of these experiences were pleasant either, so I want to explain to you how I learned the lesson I'm about to give you the hard way, and it's my goal that because of my negative experiences, that you will never have any negative experiences of your own, but that it will only be smooth sailing for you, or should I say, smooth paddling. I was in my early kayaking days, and I had a good friend who enjoyed nearly all of these adventures with me. He and I pushed each other, and that was good, but at this point in our lives, I think we were more interested in the adrenaline which kayaking gave, whitewater kayaking, instead of just enjoying the sport of kayaking. The calm aspect of the sport anyways. Just weeks before this particular experience, we had conquered one of the most technical runs in the whole region, and this boosted our confidence to take on the New River experience, which I am calling a lesson learned the hard way. With confidence flying sky high and adrenaline racing through our veins, we headed off to the famous New River, a top 15 whitewater river in the world, for a day of heart-racing fun. Before taking off, we did our homework on water levels, or so I thought, but when we arrived at the river, we did not anticipate what we found. The water levels were dangerously high, and the rapids that we had studied were now very different from the regular water level rapids. So to say the least, we were underprepared, which would really be an understatement, but we didn't drive all that way for nothing, so we parked our cars, and we unloaded our gear. From our parking spot, we could hear the roar of the rapids, and for this reason my blood pressure was running high from the very start. What were normally classified as warm-up rapids, Class 3 rapids, were now easy Class 4 rapids, so at the very beginning we experienced challenges that we had not beforehand anticipated, and it resulted in my partner swimming quite a few holes that he didn't anticipate. By now we knew that we had bitten off more than we could chew, and we knew that we were in for a long day. But we proceeded. What other choice did we have? We were in the middle of the wilderness. There was no way to make it back to our cars. We were essentially stuck. On down the river we proceeded, through a few more rapids. We conquered these with ease, and our swagger was back. All the confidence that we needed to complete the next 8 miles or so of rapids was there. Down the river we paddled until we reached the famous Keene Rapid, a series of 3 rapids which are classified as sibling rapids, which means basically they just come one after the other. After you exit one rapid, you enter the next. My partner went down the very first rapid. He got taken under and his boat was sucked underwater, filled up, and then shot back out full of water and hit me. I still made it through the first rapid despite being struck by 800 pounds of water in the form of a hardshell kayak. I was so excited over carving my way through that first rapid that my partner's boat had struck me in the shoulder and had dislocated it at first, and I did not realize it. Right before entering the second series of rapids, I realized what had happened, and with one arm I paddled to a nearby beach where my friend as well as some professional boaters from Tennessee were able to help me get my shoulder set back well enough to where I could manage the rest of our trip. The next moments would prove to be pivotal both in my life and in my hobby of kayaking. The next rapid I approached was named the Middle Keene Rapid, and while usually being a Class 4 rapid, was an easy Class 5 today because of the water level, and so this was by far the most challenging rapid that I had ever navigated in my life. My friend chose to carry his boat around the rapid, but I did not come to carry my boat. No, I had something to prove. As my friend and a professional boater stood on the shore to cheer me on, I started down the rapid. I had never been so full of fear and adrenaline in my entire life. The beginning of the rapid rode like the broncos you see on rodeo shows. I disappeared into hole after hole and reappeared. Up and down I went. So far so good. I was holding my line powerfully, and I successfully dodged the infamous Widowmaker rock. As I neared the bottom of the rapid, my excitement overtook me as I thought I had made it. But in that split second of vulnerability, the rapid took advantage of me, and now I was at the river's mercy. Without a helmet to protect myself, I was turned upside down in the water. I was unable to flip myself back over, so I resorted to a wet exit, which I did by ripping my spray skirt off. I was free. For a moment, anyways. As soon as I took a breath, the river sucked me under and began churning me. I fought as hard as I could, but to no avail. I would only survive by an act of mercy on God's part and on the river's. As things grew darker and I gave up, suddenly the river spit me into the surface. After coughing water out of my lungs, I was able to breathe air again. This was a sovereign second chance I had been granted, and I was not going to waste it. This is when I began to explore other types of whitewater and other types of kayaking. The reality of kayaking is that there are many different types of water that one can paddle. For example, if you particularly love the sea as I do, you can purchase a longer, narrower kayak fitted for paddling the sea, and you can experience this type of adventure. If you prefer calm streams or small lakes, you can do that by paddling which is referred to as recreational kayaking. The three main types of kayaking are recreational, sea, and whitewater kayaking. Although I only mentioned three categories, there are many different degrees or difficulty levels to each of these categories. For instance, in whitewater kayaking, you can go with a playboater style, which involves getting a much shorter, easier to roll type of boat, and you would surf waves and ride holes. Then there is a river runner, where your goal is to actually ride or run the river without necessarily having to stop to hit holes and to surf. Then there are levels for beginners and intermediates, or perhaps more seasoned paddlers that prefer a lighter, less dangerous type of wave and rapid, and this is currently where I reside. I say that to say this: kayaking can be for anyone or everyone, regardless of age, and regardless of the shape that you consider yourself to be in. A child as young as 3 to 4 years of age can be in paddling, while seniors in their 70s, perhaps even their 80s, can also enjoy the sport. With so many different kinds of water to paddle, there is no lack of training or anything else that's stopping you. Furthermore, while your boat and other gear may seem expensive initially, kayaking is a sport that can be enjoyed on a budget because once you have your gear, that's all you need. It's not something that you will continually pour money into. For these reasons, kayaking is for everyone. The hidden perks of kayaking, with that being said, there are many hidden perks to kayaking, more than meets the eye. There are many of these, and note that this list that I am giving you is not by any stretch of the imagination exhaustive. These are just a few that I've compiled. Firstly, exercise. Kayaking can be a great way to gain exercise, and while this might not necessarily be the deciding factor in someone pursuing the sport, this provides a wonderful added advantage. Secondly, kayaking can give you a love and appreciation for nature, or it can further your love for nature if you're already a nature enthusiast. Sometimes I feel like humans can be cooped up like chickens sometimes. We have our jobs, we have our homes, our errands, and our churches, and many times we're just living life in a triangle or a square. But kayaking is a hobby that can provide you with a way to break that triangle or square and to explore life outside of the bounds that humans often set for themselves. Kayaking can also provide to be a great time of fellowship and togetherness for families and friends. It's a very simple life while on the water. It's you, your boat, your paddle, nature, and your family and friends. There are no cell phones, televisions, computers, tablets, or anything else to distract us from the task of enjoyment at hand. With these barriers non-existent on the water, many memories can be made during these times. Finally, and most importantly, I have found that my awe of God has been expanded while on the water. There is nothing enchanting or magical about kayaking, but it's the simplicity of being in the middle of nature and being literally forced to behold the glory of God through His wonderful creation that He has given to us for our enjoyment. It is saddening to realize that the majority of people do not take advantage of this glorious beauty which God has bestowed upon us. Kayaking is a simple and easy way to begin taking advantage of this. In conclusion, I want to leave you with some practicality. This speech is not just about informing you about the sport of kayaking, and it's not only to convince you to try out the sport, although these would be wonderful. I am trying to inspire you to enjoy life outside of your walls. If that means you will begin camping, cycling, hiking, or exploring, then great. If that means you'll begin kayaking, even better. Ultimately, we were made and designed for lauding praises to God, and we do this by experiencing Him. If we experience Him in His Word, in church and in our homes, but never in creation, as great as the ways in which we do experience Him are, we are still missing out by not experiencing Him in His wild and wonderful outdoors that He has given to us. As much as I would love for you to try your hand at kayaking, ultimately I'm just asking you to consider experiencing God in perhaps a new setting for you, and for others of you who do already experience Him in creation, to just keep on keeping on. Keep on experiencing Him through His creation.